Hey there, Sam Visnick here, Release Muscle Therapy, and today in this video I want to do something a little different, which is to review foot massagers. Now, as a professional massage therapist working with individuals with all sorts of chronic pains and muscle tension problems, a frequent question I get is on these kinds of massage tools. Are they effective and are they helpful? And to be completely honest with you, over probably the course of my entire career, I have never used an electric foot massager. So this will be the first review I do of a kind. I happened to go to Amazon and I picked one up. This company in particular, there's a lot of different brands on there. I'll put a link to it below, the one that I'm actually reviewing now, but there's a lot of different ones out there. Something to the effect of EYTRR, whatever, it's an acronym, but you can check it out. So the big question is, first and foremost, are foot massagers generally useful? Well, I would say I put massage into two major categories: massage for just relaxation and because things feel good, and also more clinical massage therapy, that is like manual therapy techniques for a specific type of issue. Now, of course, in both of these categories, the purpose of doing massage therapy is to relax stuff, so they share that feature, of course. But there's definitely a world of difference between doing general kind of relaxation massage with superficial glides and motions versus getting into the tissues and mobilizing certain elements. So I will put those into two different categories. Of course, anything with this, we look at it from a perspective of, hey, it's a good tool if you like it and it feels good, but also more particularly, we'll talk about, do you think it might be helpful for certain types of issues? And one of the most common ones, of course, is going to be plantar fasciitis. So let's talk about this tool here real quick. On average, these things can range anywhere from $60 up to about $200, different brands and so forth, but I think the features are generally about the same. This unit in particular has a couple of different features to it. It does have a compression element of the heel and of the top of the foot. It has a kneading motion like a tool on the bottom that will spin and rotate to actually treat the surface of the foot on the bottom. And it also has a heat component to it as well. So it will function as a foot warmer. If you tend to have an issue with cold feet, in the extremities, having some types of circulation issues, could be helpful in that regard. So before you pick one of these, you should also look at, outside of those essential features, is the sizing. This unit in particular will work for individuals who are generally up to size 11. My foot is about a 12 and a half. So I'm a little big for this, but I was still able to use this unit fairly comfortably. But I just do want to throw that out there. So make sure that you have the appropriate sizing. There has been some talk on individuals on reviews that if your foot is too small, then you may not be able to achieve the therapeutic effect. Outside of that, you also want to be able to clean the thing. So this unit in particular has these sleeves on the inside, and on closer view there is a zipper where you can actually unzip that to be able to clean it. As with anything when it comes to massage tools, you want to be able to keep it sanitary and keep it clean, especially on the feet. You put a lot of dirt, grime, etc. in there. You want to be able to clean that, and we are able to do that with this unit. Okay, so pretty simple operation. You stick that in there and then stick your feet inside and have a start button. This thing has about a 15-minute timer. And one of the things that I found out of using this, and of course this is not the first time I've used this, of course I tried it before I jumped on camera, is that depending on the intensity that you select, there's going to be a time limit to how much you want to do that. So if you've not had massage on an area, for example, let's say your back or your hips or whatever it is, there's a point where you get a good return for the amount of time and the amount of intensity. But if you go well past that, like for example, 5 minutes of massaging an area and when you first start maybe more than enough, and you could even get a little bit of muscle soreness after that, then you don't want to be putting your foot in this, for example, for a half an hour. You're going to get soreness. And admittedly, it felt good the first time I did this, so I did a couple of rounds on it. The timer shuts off at 15 minutes, but of course I was testing and playing with it, so I did find that as I kept adding more intensity to this thing, and it does apply a pretty good amount if you want that, then it does tend to get to be a bit much, okay? So you have to be aware of that, and I think a timer is really good, so you don't just fall asleep with this thing on and then wake up with sore feet. So once you click your start button, right down in there, usually hit the button right on the side and it starts all of the functions. I had all of those turned on. I think they're just the starting set point there. You're going to start feeling compression along the heels and the bottom of the foot, and that kneading motion starts from the bottom. Generally speaking, compression for the most part is really nice on the foot. In particular, the bottom of the heel, when it gets squeezed, and I've shown this on a number of other videos for treating the foot, doing soft tissue work, treating the heel by that squeezing motion is very helpful, especially when the foot is sensitive on the bottom. That motion is really difficult to replicate with your hand because as you keep squeezing the hand, your hand gets tired really fast. So this kind of tool I do find to be pretty valuable in that regard. Squeezing the top of the foot, it's going to feel good. The challenge is if there's any conditions with the sesamoid and so forth, or sensitivity down toward the metatarsals, then that compression of squeezing your foot in may not feel that great. At level 1 intensity, it's probably going to feel okay, but I wouldn't do too much there. So generally speaking, I'm a fan of this thing. I mean, I was really surprised at how good it feels. I'm not somebody who really regularly goes out and seeks foot massage, but you know, just starting this off, it feels pretty amazing, I got to be honest. So the foot in particular is probably my favorite part. It feels almost like a bar is rolling along the bottom of, or the sole of the foot. So the big question is, do you think that that might be helpful for plantar fasciitis? That's an interesting question. Plantar fasciitis is a condition in the bottom of the foot where there's a sore spot right there on the inside of the heel, and it's oftentimes strained, damaged, slightly torn, however we want to look at it, inflamed. It's quite irritated. So oftentimes in massage therapy, what we're trying to do is to treat those tissues on the bottom of the foot in order to encourage relaxation and to desensitize the foot. So in this area in particular, you'll feel that bar moving along there. I'm not a fan of doing direct pressure right on the most painful spot of the plantar fascia. And one of the reasons why is it can increase the sensitivity, and some people it might provoke more pain. So this doesn't get too close to that area with a lot of intensity, and even if it did, I can kind of lean my foot out to the side and get away with it, or away from it, so it doesn't feel too intense. I'm not sure though with the function there of the lack of specificity, but that general bar there, if it would be super useful for someone with plantar fascia issues. And in fact, you know, it might be something to try if it were recommended by the doctor and say that that's okay to do. But generally speaking, I think that this is more than anything else a nice, good general foot massage. I think, again, my favorite part outside of that rolling bar on the bottom is the squeezing on the heel. That generally feels the best. It does have a few other operations in here. Number one is you can increase the intensity of things quite a bit. I turn this on and this is just a level 1, and I feel for that right now it seems good enough and it's pretty comfortable. So there's more intensity levels. I can click those things up and then go up a few more notches, so that's pretty cool. And you can isolate which function you want to have a little bit more intensity, which is helpful as well. Because like I said, I wouldn't increase the pressure or the direct intensity of the bar underneath. I feel like that's sufficient, but I could handle a lot more of the compression on the side. So look for a tool also that allows you to be able to isolate those functions. The last function on here that we talked about, I mentioned, is the heat. So this increases the temperature. So if you're somebody who tends to have cold feet on a regular basis, you live in a cold area, you know, this would function quite nicely as a foot warmer as well. So heat is oftentimes helpful with the application of massage. The two kind of work hand in hand. As you repetitively work an area, you get more blood to the area and the temperature increases. But also if you have sensitivity in an area and you use something like a heat pack or you take a hot or a warm shower, the tissue starts to loosen a little bit. It gets less sensitive when you're working in it. So that's a nice combination of factors to add together. So all in all, I would say generally my review is I'm kind of a fan of this. I mean, outside of the fact that it feels like my legs are kind of squashed in like this, I wish the thing was wider so that I can sit more comfortably. I think this would be a great addition if you like general foot massage, if you're somebody who stands for long periods out of the day, and at the end of the day your feet feel like they just want to be squeezed and kneaded through to push all that blood upward and try to relax those muscles. I think it's pretty useful. When it comes to dealing with conditions, plantar fasciitis, heel spurs, that kind of stuff, I think that it's kind of a reach to say that that would be a useful therapeutic device for that. I would rather seek out more specific targeted massage techniques or tools that would work on specific areas around the foot. So I don't know if I would endorse it for that concept. But in general, I think this one is great. Like I said, there's other options out there, but this one seemed to be kind of a middle of the pack, pretty affordable. And, you know, I give it pretty much a pretty solid A for this. So I'll leave that link down below if you're interested in this one in particular. This is the one that I reviewed, but of course you could use this video as a reference for some of the key points that I think are important when it comes to selecting a foot massager. But all in all, pretty good product, and in general massage, I can recommend it. So I hope this review has been helpful, and if you have any questions, comments, feel free to comment on them below. Feel free to give me a like on this video, and of course subscribe for future videos. Thanks for watching.